Welcome to the Alternative Zen Show. I'm Nicole.
And I'm Jen, and today we're going to be talking about cycles.
All right, Jen. So cycles, like everything happens in cycles, right?
Yes.
You think of nature. Nature it goes in cycles of the seasons. It's one of the reasons why I love living here in Chicago is because we have all of the seasons.
That's why I haven't left.
It's like I just couldn't imagine Christmas or
without
winter
snow.
without snow. Yeah, even this it's like once you get the first snow or two, I pretty much hate it.
Yeah, and this past winter was crazy. I was like, okay, snow, go home. Mm-hmm. Mother Nature, you're drunk. Bye.
Nature's pretty bipolar sometimes. Seasons, weather goes in cycles. Along with the seasons, then all the planets rotate.
Yes. Our planets are always rotating. Mercury's in retrograde right now.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Yeah. Well, it goes into retrograde actually on the 29th, I believe. May 29th.
It's coming. Correct. It's not in there, but it's almost there.
Right, we're in the pre-retrograde phase.
Yes.
So each season we talk about each season has a cycle, or the seasons are cycles, right? And so like we think of winter, death. Like death can actually be a good thing. Destruction can be a good thing. It clears the way for new life. Right, so in winter, things die. Sometimes metaphorically, we die. Like our old selves die.
Yes, because we're constantly evolving.
Exactly, we're constantly evolving.
Most of us are, at least.
Yeah. And then in the spring, we are reborn. There's new life all around us. The grass becomes green again. The flowers in the trees start to bloom. And then summer, just life is going on, and things are fully alive, and then in fall things start to decay and decline, heading into the winter again. So cycles are important in everything. They say everything comes full circle, right? Karma,
big time.
Good and bad karma, it goes in a circle. So what you put out comes back to you. And then the circle of life. Lion King, one of my favorite Disney movies. Being raised on that, I think that's...
I almost just busted out the beginning song, but I decided not to do that. So
it would be
you guys are lucky.
Pretty entertaining. We are sing-along people. We are singers. We love that stuff. The moon.
I love the moon. Sometimes I hate it, but I love the moon.
Well, the moon, goes in cycles, obviously. Yes. There's the new moon, the waxy moon, which is when it's growing, the full moon, and then the waning moon when it's decreasing. And then the moon, a lot of women, especially ones that are on birth control, and this is maybe TMI for if there's guys watching, but women's cycles sync up to the moon. We're all made of water, and so we're all controlled kind of by the moon. There's a lot of power in the new moon and in the full moons.
Definitely.
And then I already said things come full circle. So that's it for the different little bulletins or bullets that we want to put out there. So now let's talk about how we repeat mistakes and situations until we learn our lesson.
Yeah. So I've noticed a lot of these things happening with people that I know, with myself, that you tend to repeat cycles, thank you, because you haven't learned the lesson, or maybe you weren't ready to learn the lesson that was put in front of you at that time. And so you end up going back and repeating the same behavior and doing the same thing.
Or ending up in the same situation.
Or ending up in the same or similar situations that you have in the past because you never healed from the traumas or healed from the pain of those situations previously. And you didn't really go through the emotional cycles that you're supposed to.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, those are the reasons why that we repeat those mistakes, and we continue to end up in the same situations, or end up standing there asking ourselves, why does this keep happening to me?
Exactly. That's what I was waiting for a chance to say.
Why does this keep happening? Because I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do, but if you think about it, you're doing everything you're supposed to do, but you have to tweak it, you have to change it in order to get a different outcome.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was going to, make sure to say this is for the people who are like, why does this keep happening to me? Yeah. I was one of those, my early mid-20s.
I've been there.
Yeah, I felt like I was a victim. Like, why does all this bad stuff happen to me? But I was surrounding myself with the wrong people. Right. Right. I wanted to fit in so bad, but I didn't care about who it was. I just wanted to be loved. But I kept choosing the same type of people, same type of friends,
right?
And ones that didn't let me be my true self, or like I felt like I had to impress. And then when I end up losing someone I considered a very close or best friend, it's like why is that happening to me?
Why can't
and really it's like your paper keeps blowing away. Jeez. All right, go do it again. Gosh. Just kidding. I'm not an abusive friend, I promise.
But yeah, no, like going off of what you just said, like also like when it comes to relationships, a lot of people tend to gravitate towards the same type of person, and they don't last in that relationship because they're creating maybe the type of person that doesn't what's the word that doesn't compliment them, you know, properly. They think they do, but really that type of person isn't the person that's going to compliment them. So that's why those relationships keep ending, and you can't find your forever or your twin flame or your soul mate or whatever the case is.
I think a lot of times a lot of people crave or desire someone, and so they might change who they are or their interests, or pick up someone else's interest. There's nothing wrong with that, to take an interest in something somebody else likes, simply because it's like, oh, I've never experienced this before. I actually like this.
It's nice to do new things too that someone has introduced you to.
But if you have to hide yourself, if you do things that is like out of your character that don't feel right, then you're probably in the wrong situation.
Right.
I feel like when you have anxiety in a situation, it's telling you something's not right, And I learned from 2 divorces, don't marry someone who cheats on you before you get married. Like, ultimately, if someone cheats on you, I think end of the relationship, unfortunately.
It's really however, you decide to deal with it. But in reality, there is a realistic, approach to cheating. And, one would say it's not very smart to marry someone who's done that to you in the past because... once a cheater, always a cheater.
I heard that, yeah. But I think it does apply to relationships.
Well, and it applies to growth, though, because honestly, like, you can be someone who has had those types of situations in your life, or you've been the cheater, or you've been cheated on. Yeah. But if you are capable of evolving and not repeating the same cycles over and over again, you won't be that stigma. That stigma won't be attached to you as a person because you've evolved and you've grown into understanding why you cheated, how to fix it, and how to maintain not doing that in your next relationship.
Right, because when somebody cheats, it's not about you, it's about
really
the
about
cheater.
The person.
Because I cheated. I have to admit, I cheated in early relationships because I was so unhappy. And I was also a relationship jumper. I was one of those afraid to be lonely. So we had to take a brief pause. We're back. We were talking about, you can break your cycle. Ultimately what you do is a reflection of you. What other people do is a reflection of them, right? And obviously if you're anxious or if things don't feel right, they probably aren't. You probably aren't where you need to be, and you need to, dig into
Assess it, and try to figure out what you can change to help make the change.
Right, and I think all of us, and the greatest growth for me has come in the last year or two when I realized that I wanted to be the change I wanted to see in the world, right? Like, I can't talk about how things aren't as good as they could be if I wasn't doing my part to contribute,
right?
It's like everybody wants to change the world, no one wants to change themselves. We do need to change. We need to learn so that we can grow, and then we'll be free of our more worries, more fears, more anxieties, more trauma. And sometimes bad things will happen to us again so that we can heal from past situations. Like, you might be able to better understand a past situation when something happens to you again.
Right, exactly. It's extremely important for you to be able to understand and process and heal properly so that when that similar situation does arise, you're stronger and you're more capable of understanding what's happening, what's transpiring, and then you're able to think clearly, not emotionally. It's not an emotionally charged reaction. It's a healed reaction.
You're just centered. You're just
smarter. You're but also because you heal and understand the situation properly. That's.
So we need to put ourselves in other people's shoes. too. I think that's why cycles happen, so we can, again, gain more understanding, where it's like we're being tested by the universe in a way.
Yes.
And so I've done a lot of healing of my past, especially as a parent. Like, I understand my parents and some of the things that they did that I didn't like a lot more, being a working parent of a kid that comes from a broken home, that, you know, has behavioral issues. Like, he's so smart, but he struggles at school because he's got ADHD or something like that, which really has a lot to do with his diet and sugar, and I can't stop him from eating some of the crap that's out there. Like, I try and, like, buy less of it, but now he gets free stuff from the school, and that's affecting him.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I'm healing or better understanding, like I said, my parents, and you know, realizing that, you know, I have so much gratitude for some of the things that they did that I hated, right? But they did it for my best,
your best interest.
Yes, they had my best interest at heart in a lot of ways. But putting ourselves in other people's shoes helps us to understand them, helps us change our way of thinking, and then it also, if we do more with love, right? When somebody is not, like, when we're fighting with someone or we're having issues, it's really hard, but with practice, if you act with love and you don't antagonize or fight back, sometimes you take the power away from the other person to fight. So, and like in Cobra Kai, a great show. I love karate. We're karate moms, and I'm a karate myself.
I've been a karate mom for years and years and years. My son is a 2nd degree black belt.
Oh yeah, he's such a cool kid.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
So in Cobra Kai, one of Mr. Miyagi's like old friends, their protege, I don't remember his name, but Daniel's son, he's taught by him that, you know, in order to win, you take away the other person's ability to wage war. So when you're in a fight, a verbal fight, right, not a physical fight, totally different thing, you know, it's best to act with love and to not let someone get a rise out of you.
Right.
You know, it's because you know that they're trying to drag you into their problems. Misery loves company. And so don't give them that satisfaction. In some situations, it's better to walk away or to understand that, okay, they're angry and they're saying things they don't necessarily mean. Or even if they do mean them, there's no point in letting yourself get angry. You know, letting yourself come down to their level, letting it affect your well-being, letting it make you scared or anxious or mad, things like that. Love can diffuse a lot of hardships. It makes me think of a Kelly Clarkson song called "I Dare You," and it goes, "I dare you to love, even if you can't, you know, even when you're broken." I would have to sing. I have to stop and sing it, and I'm not going to do that right now. People don't see things as cycles because they don't think of it that way. So we talked about that kind of already.
Right.
So, you know, if you just think, oh, bad things keep happening to me, well, again, own your part. This is your life. Take control. If something bad keeps happening, are you reacting in the same way? Are you picking the same type of person over and over again? Like, most people have a type.
Yes. Yes.
And so if you learn to, you know, to identify your weaknesses and your part in your life that causes some of your hardships, or you can come away with a lot of wisdom, and you can come away just better, happier, more enlightened.
Yes.
You know, wow, we went through this like super fast.
We totally did.
Oh no!
But you know what though? There are other things that we can touch on. You know, so we did pick a couple of our books that we thought could be of extreme help to some of you watching.
So first, this is a used book.
Yes.
Why People Don't Heal and How They Can by Caroline Myss. She's a PhD. It's pretty cool because she's a PhD, so she's a doctor, and she also studies like metaphysical stuff and spirituality and psychic stuff. So I really like Caroline Myss. I think she's brilliant, very smart. And so when I saw this, I'm like, this is something I've got to read at some point, and I think this is something I think other people could pick up. So that one is used, so it is very affordable. But Zen and the Art of Happiness, I talked about this on the first show. I will always be pimping out this book. It is a life changer. And the reason why I thought this applied to cycles is because it really teaches you the how to reprogram your brain to understand that everything that happens in life is for our ultimate benefit, right? And with
your hardships, you will learn it comes to full circle, and they will become great ships.
Yes. So it's like, and we know that with all the stuff that we've been through, it made us stronger.
Yes.
It made us tougher. It made us able to help other people and give them great advice.
More resilient too, I think.
Mm-hmm. And we persevere,
Yes.
through the bad stuff. But with Zen and the Art of Happiness, again, always look for that silver lining. When something bad happens, instead of, again, curling into a ball and being like, why me? Jump into action, and or
also,
be like, what great is going to come of this?
And know your part in it. Know your part in that misery. Know your part in that cycle. Reflect on yourself. A lot of people have a problem with reflecting on the things that are negative about themselves or that they're not good at, or
a lot of people think it's not me.
It's
them.
not me. It's them. And it's really shitty to say, but a lot of times it is you. You're the problem. You're the issue because you're not reflecting the right way, or you're not handling the situation the right way, or you're not learning the lesson that you were supposed to learn, and that's why you keep ending up in the same situation or similar situations over and over.
So it is both. Again, there's always multiple sides to a story, side A, side B, and then how it actually happened without people's emotions,
attached to it.
Yeah. Because I've been in some precarious situations where I know I didn't mean to antagonize. I was just, being honest.
You're fueled. Sometimes you have emotions going, and you're trying to be honest with someone, and
people don't like honesty. I swear.
No, I know all about it, man.
It's so hard. It's hard to be honest, but it's even harder for people when you don't believe you when you're honest. But people believe lies.
Yeah.
And we'll do a whole nother show completely on lies.
About stuff like that.
That's a big one. But yeah, Zen, the Art of Happiness, you guys got to read this. I mean, it'll help change. I really think it'll help change your life. And you won't necessarily become like me. If you think I'm weird, you're like, I want to be like Nicole.
Okay.
I'm not going to read that book.
Don't care anymore.
I think the thing is like, we're in our early 30s, and it's like, we are mature, we are wise, but it's like, we want life to be fun. We want life to be enjoyable. We want to live. We don't want to just be bland and boring, and do things the conventional way. That's just not in the cards for me. So then if you want to use some essential oils to help you with breaking your cycles or to help you during tough times, Elevation Joyful Blend by doTERRA is great. It's it's yellow color. There's lemon. There's lots of the citrus in there. It smells nice. You can diffuse that. You can put it on your skin. This is not one that you can take internally. I know some people are up in the air about that. I'll explain why at some point I'll explain more about why I will take certain oils internally and why I only trust doTERRA for that too. Because their quality and it's organic. And then Balance, I love for this. Yes, I got Jen into this. I got her hooked. Balance is amazing. It smells woodsy.
It's amazing.
It's definitely, again, not one that you can take internally, but if you put it on your wrist, put it on the back of your neck, put it on your big toe, you actually have, I know it sounds silly, but you have reflexology points in your feet and in your hands that correspond to all the different organs of your body. And so putting on your big toe, Balance, it helps create grounding. It helps you feel more balanced. It's helped me so much with my anxiety. I feel like I rarely get anxiety anymore, and I used to feel anxious every day. I've had panic attacks that put me in the ER, and those things were all kind of part of my wake-up call to be like, Nicole, what you're doing is not working. Yeah, so ever since I implemented Balance, things have shifted so much. And then another one is Cheer Uplifting Blend. This is part of the aromatherapy line that doTERRA has. This is in a roller bottle, whereas these two are in the regular bottle. So this is pre-diluted, so you can rub it right onto your wrist. You can rub it onto the back of your neck. It's also another kind of lemony one.
Uplifting.
Yes, it is the uplifting blend. Yep. So, and also another thing. Well, I mean, we're talking about cycles, but if we want to talk about just happiness, dress in bright colors. We love black. We dress in black a lot.
Dress in black a lot. You're going to see me in black a lot.
Yes.
I love to wear black.
But when you wear colors, bright colors can make you feel happier.
Definitely.
Surround yourself with bright colors. Like, that's why, even though I like black and I like lots of lace and dark colors, I like the light aesthetics of my house. And, because it's a different kind of tone, and it just this is my den that we're in, and this is a very relaxing space. I have a little reading nook over in the corner there, so I sit there and I read or I do my meditations. I have like my incense stuff on table. Yada yada. I don't want to talk about me anymore. Okay, and then we have some crystals that are good. That could help you guys out with breaking cycles and improving your energy. So quartz, so clear quartz, rose quartz, citrine, amethyst, black tourmaline. Jen, you looked these up right before we got started.
Yeah, so black tourmaline is actually a good one to help transmute negative energy, and will help transmute, any of that that you're holding on to.
And also black tourmaline, the main reason why I bought it was it helps block electromagnetic smog, essentially. So like the emanations from your cell phone or from your laptop, this can help dissipate that, because it's a form of radiation. I'm not trying to freak you guys out, right? But it's, no, we do pick up, there is stuff, electromagnetic stuff coming off of technology. And so if you're sensitive to that, or like you get headaches from looking at a computer screen all day, black tourmaline can help. What else? Clear quartz. Everybody should have clear quartz.
Everybody should have it.
It really. I mean, it's clear. It's like one of the masters of crystals.
The king of crystals.
Yes.
One of the kings of crystals.
Yeah. And we've talked about the other ones. I mean, rose quartz is the crystal of love. Amethyst helps with increasing intuition, psychic abilities,
and balance.
Citrine is, orange, and actually, most citrine is actually, real citrine is actually incredibly rare. So most citrine that you buy is actually heated amethyst, but it still takes on the same properties as natural citrine.
Right.
So I did want to point that out. I'm pretty sure everything we've got is the heated stuff. I'm sorry, that's just what is available to everybody, but still has those same chemical or physical, metaphysical properties. So yeah, those are the crystals that we have. Anything else we want to add? Oh, do you want to talk about Mercury Retrograde?
Oh yeah. So going into Mercury Retrograde and going into like the phases of the moon, a lot of us are extremely affected by these things. Most of the signs that are affected by these things are like Geminis and Virgos, Leos, Aquarius, Taurus.
Well, that is this
Scorpio.
Mercury,
This
retrograde, because it's in Gemini.
Right.
Everyone is different based on the different time of year. Mercury retrograde is always a different time of year.
Yes,
Generally
there's
lasts
one
a few
in
weeks.
January this year too, I believe. And now there's going to be one on the 29th, like you said.
Right. So Mercury retrograde, what I always keep in mind, because, I mean, you don't need to know everything about it, and a lot of people are like, what the hell is Mercury retrograde, right?
or they don't even know anything about it, but they're like, what the hell? Why do I feel like this?
Yeah.
What's going on? I just, feel insane right now, or I'm, I can't communicate at all to anybody, or I don't want to do anything. What's going on? This is not how I normally am. It's because of this.
Yeah, there's usually, when a lot of people are feeling the same way, it's usually something with the planets. And so Mercury retrograde, a few times that's happened to me where I'll be like, what is going on? And then I find out we're in retrograde. I didn't follow it religiously, right? I didn't practice for it, but now, we are trying to be more aware of that stuff to help other people. So just be aware of, communication, right? If you're working, if communication is very important for your work, just be more careful about the emails that you send. If you're working through maybe some relationship stuff and you're trying to communicate to get through it, be careful about what you say. Be careful about your contracts, signing any contracts during Mercury retrograde. Just, be prepared. We talked about last week with fear, to face fear, be prepared. So you're aware retrograde is coming up, just be careful. That's the best I could say.
Be aware that communication barriers will happen and communication between people will be disturbed. So try to be conscious of it.
Yes.
But basically, I think that we can just wrap this up by just saying that try to notice your own life cycles that you're doing. If something doesn't quite fit, if you keep finding yourself in an unhappy place, even though you have everything great going for you, reassess what makes you happy and try to implement those things in your life to change your cycles. When you can think about something and want to do it, but you need to be about it. Think about it, be about it, and implement the changes in your life to dissolve those cycles and break those cycles. A lot of my family members, continue some generational cycles that I have tried to break.
Yeah.
And my brother has also tried to break. And it's not that it's like the worst thing in the world, but there are things that, you know, my family and generations in our families, they didn't know. They weren't taught how to properly deal with emotions or how to deal with certain very mature situations. And so those types of cycles are definitely something that, you know, you want to try to change if you're able to accept that that's taking place in your life, or that has, you know, has a value to you.
Well, so in my family, there's, you know, lots of addiction, lots of abuse in my family's history, and, you know, it's like when you're a parent or your parents, I mean, that is your main life teacher, right? So genuinely, like my parents kind of raised me as like, I do what I say, do as I say, and not as I do. Well, that doesn't necessarily work. You got you do have to lead by example.
Yes.
And that can be very hard to do sometimes. But if you see your parents unhappy, or you see the, you know, cycles in your family, like, you can get caught up in it subconsciously and not even realize it. When you realize it, do something about it. You know, I'm very glad that my mom broke the cycle. Like, her, you know, there's alcoholism and drug use in the generation before, and she got us out of the city, and she, you know, was not a big drinker. Like, she drank socially. So thankfully, you know, my dad was an addict, and so that helped me realize I didn't want to become an addict, even if my other friends were doing stuff. I just wasn't going to risk that, knowing that addiction runs in my bloodline on both sides. I just didn't want to throw my life away and repeat my parents' mistakes. That's the other thing, is our mistakes can be a great teacher. So like, I learned from their mistakes. And I think a lot of people do. A lot of people learn from their own mistakes, if you know, or they keep making them until they do. That's the whole thing about
the cycle.
Lessons repeat until you learn what you're supposed to. Learn. I don't want to get too personal. I have a lot of stories I could keep telling, but ultimately, take your life into your own hands, and
what your family and where you come from, and if it's broken or not broken, you are the person that's in charge of your healing. So whatever trauma you come from, whatever trauma that's happened to you in your adult life, take control of your life and take control of how you feel, because allowing the situations, and your family all are addicts and they are, you know, terrible people, or whatever the case is.
And we're not saying
that our family are terrible people.
She's generalizing.
But I'm just, in general, like, if you come from a broken home, or you come from you know, you were adopted, or you have to instill that, like, changing those generational cycles is important. And, you know, like, our parents, they did a great job at changing their generation, you know, their generational cycles. And so we're just trying to make sure that if we continue to do that, continue to heal, and, you know, create your own stability, create your own happiness, and take back your control, because what happened to you in the past is in the past, and it's there for a reason. Mm-hmm. Worrying about the future, it's not here yet. Worry about now, and changing what you need to change so that you can be a whole, happy person and break your cycles.
Yeah. And so you've made me think of how, like, I've recognized, I didn't like a lot of things my parents did growing up. They were a little too strict, put a lot of weight on my shoulders as the oldest. And they yelled a lot, and they were very unhappy. Like I said earlier in the show, I do appreciate some of the things that they went through a lot more now.
Right.
But it's like, okay, when I find myself yelling at my son or wanting to spank him, you know, or lash out, like, because he makes me so angry. One, I'm in control of my emotions. I need to remain patient. I need to not let him get me angry.
Right.
And then when I'm able to do that, it doesn't feed his little tiny ego. Then he doesn't get more angry and more explosive. And he's only 7. So it does worry me. He has some anger issues. But if I'm more patient, if I'm more loving, it does go a long way. There's a huge difference in when I fight back or when I lash out. And the thing is I recognize subconscious. I think we all become our parents if we're not careful.
Right.
We become
and
our
it's
mothers,
okay to
and we're women.
it's okay to become your parents and take away the
great
things that they
learn from their mistakes.
Right,
learn from what
their
you didn't like.
mistakes.
That's what I think when I'm like, what? How did I feel when my parents did this to me? Why would I do that to my kid?
Exactly.
Like the things I hated. So that's what's made me a better parent is when I realize I don't want. Like, I remember how it felt to go through exactly what I might be putting my kid through. And I don't do it on purpose, right? Like, I don't want to be a yeller. My son just wears
he can press the buttons.
down.
I think all of our kids can press the buttons and wear you down to where you're just like, ah!
Yeah, and so it takes a lot, and that's been part of my growth journey to not let him press those buttons, to know that that's what he's trying to do, and just to be like, I already said no, I'm sorry.
You're in control, and if you can show him that you're in control of your emotions, then you're teaching him how to be in control of his, or that it's possible and he's capable of being in control of his own emotions.
So as much as I know it's not my, quote-unquote, my fault that he's going through what he's doing, I own a big part. Like, I am his primary caregiver, and I've been through a lot of stuff this past year, and I've been really focused on my work. So I know that he needs more attention. I know that he needs more help and love. He just doesn't know how to ask for it. So his acting out, his behaviors are, in a way, him asking for it. And so I've taught myself how to recognize that stuff. I've broken the cycle of
how you're responding to your child.
Exactly. Okay, so this episode is a little bit, pieced together from the editing that we've done. There's been some things we took out that we didn't like to say. Ooh, I just pushed the stand with my foot. We got a new tripod for the phone. So that's been interesting, an interesting change for us. That's also why we're a little bit closer. But we wanted to close with a couple of quotes about change. Damn it! I touched it again with my foot. So here's
footsie.
Playing footsie with the camera. So here's a quote by Lori Deshane. Be the person who breaks the cycle. If you were judged, choose understanding. If you were rejected, choose acceptance. If you were shamed, choose compassion. Be the person you needed when you were hurting, not the person who hurt you. Vow to be better than what broke you, to heal instead of becoming bitter, so that you can act from your heart, not your pain. And then here's yours.
And this is by Yuda Berg. Hurt people. That's how pain patterns get passed on, generation after generation. Break the chain today. Meet anger with sympathy. Contempt with compassion. Cruelty with kindness. Greet grimaces with a smile. Forgive and forget about finding fault. Love is the weapon of the future.
So we hope you guys enjoyed this show. We look forward to recording another one next week. Again, if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments either here on YouTube or on our Facebook page. We would be happy to interact with you guys and help you out on your healing or spiritual journey. Bye.
Bye.